Hi everybody and welcome back to this INDESIGN course. So in this lesson we are going to talk about text and graphics. So we are going to see how to work with both at the same time. So how to arrange text in a document and also how to place some images or vector graphics. But first thing first, as always, let's briefly recap what we've seen in the last video. In the last lesson, we've talked about vector graphics. And we especially saw some tools that we can find here on the left, which are the pen tool, pencil tool, and also this shape here, rectangle, ellipse, and polygon tool. So let's briefly see how we can work with them again. Alright, so as we've seen in the last video with the pen tool, we can create any shape we want and we can draw straight lines like this, so just by clicking randomly on the document, or we can also create curves like this if we click and then move it a little bit and then release. So as you see now, we can create any shape. Perfect, so straight lines or curves, whatever we want. So this could be something. So this could be a shape, for example. Then we can, of course, up here, fill with some color. And then we can also select the stroke of it. So here, and we can also increase the size. Perfect. Then we have the pencil tool, which it also allows us to draw these creative shapes. So for example, like this. Alright, and we can also select delete now. And let's see some of this shape tool. So we can create, for example, an ellipse. So we click and drag. And if we want a circle, we just have to press Shift from the keyboard. Here we are. Or without clicking shape, we can create an ellipse. Here it is, and we can of course fill it with some colors. We can find here. And also the stroke. Here we are. Perfect. And if you remember, in the last video, we also talked about some panel that help us to work with these shapes. We will find it from Window, Object and Layout, Pathfinder. So let's duplicate this shape here. So let's click on it and then let's press Alt from the keyboard and here we are. Here we are, alright. So as you can see here, for example, we can work with two different shapes. We have to select them both, alright. And then we have here some tools. So let's see, for example, some of them. So for example, we can decide to have just the part that these two shapes have in common. Or Ctrl Z. We can decide to erase that part. Or again, we can decide to melt these two shapes and create just a big one. So as you can see now, we just have one shape. If you go back here, we can also convert our shape. So for example, let's take this up here. We can decide to convert it in a triangle or a polygon or again a rectangle and so on. So all these shapes that we see right here. Now, last time I also showed you another panel that we can find right here, stroke. And if it's not here on the right side, we can always go on Window and then stroke. Alright, so as we saw, the stroke is this outline here. For example, the red one here or the blue right here. So let's see what we can do with this panel here, so the stroke panel. First of all, we can decide the weight, so the thickness of it. And then, also important, we can define the type of stroke that we want. So now, for example, we have a straight solid line, but we can also decide to have a dotted line. So to have all these dots around the shape, or a dashed line, or again like this, or a wavy line. So as you can see, we have many different choices to make an alternative shape, so a creative shape, depending of course on what we need and what we're working on. Alright, so let's begin now with today's lesson. So we can close this panel, or we can also always decide to put them here on the right side. So if you know that you're going to use that frequently, you can put it right here, or you can just close it and open new ones. So as you want, totally up to you. All right, let's also delete these shapes here. Perfect. All right, so first of all, let's go here, type tool, and let's put text from here. By right clicking on it, let's go on fill with placeholder text. Perfect. All right. And now let's place an image right here on the document, so on the text here, and let's see what happens. So let's go on file, place, let's select the image we want to open, and let's go on open. Here we are. So let's click and drag. Perfect. So as you can see now, it looks like that the image is on another level, so on another layer. They don't interact at all. But if you go up here, we can find the text wrap tool. So right now, as you can see, we are on no text wrap. And then we have these three different options that we can select. So for example, let's go to wrap around bounding box. So right now, as you can see, the text is going perfectly around the text image. So no matter what I place the image, the text is gonna adjust it itself around the box image. Then we also this one. So in this case, we can decide to have the text so just above the image or under it. All right, let's open now a PNG image. So first of all, let's add a new page right here on the panel page and here. Perfect. And if you notice here, we have this red sign that we already saw in the past videos, that it's saying to me that there's some text that we can see right now. So with the threading tool, we just click on it, and here we are. Perfect. Now we can also add some other text. So again, by right-clicking in it, fill with placeholder text. Perfect. All right, so let's go on File, Place, and let's select our PNG image. So PNG is another type of raster graphic, which it doesn't have a background. So as you can see again now, these two elements here don't interact at all. So I have my image, which is like above the text. But let's first of all open a panel which is gonna be quite useful. Let's go on Window, Text Wrap. Perfect. All right, so now we can see that we have some of the same tool that we just saw here. But of course, in the panel, we always have some more. So for example, we have the same text wrap function. So in this way, the text is gonna align and adjust itself around the box image. And now we have another tool, which is kind of cool, which is this one, wrap around object shape. So basically the text, now it's gonna wrap around just the subject of my image, not around the box image. So these are the wrap options, so both right and left side. And also this is really important. So under type voice, we have to go on select subject. And here we are. So as you can see now, the text is perfectly adjusted around the subject, which is really cool. And as you can notice now, maybe the text is a bit too close to the flowers, so to the subject. And we can also modify this by going on working with these parameters here. So first of all, let's select the image, and then by going here, as you can see now, the space between the text and the image is gonna increase. So now the text is not so close to it, and of course I can probably also read it better. Maybe a bit too much. Perfect. So now I have enough space around these flowers, so the subject of my image, and I can also read the text better. Alright, so actually now we could open a panel that we just saw in the last lesson, which is the Pathfinder panel. Because if you can remember, with this panel we can also convert the shape. And we could do it also for this image here that we have inside text. So first of all, we could select these options, and then we could convert the shape of it So here we are. I can change the shape of my image or my box image. And of course, for example, now I can also use the text wrap function that we saw before. So this one. In this case, the text is gonna wrap around the boxed image, which is now a triangle shape. And also here, we can increase the space between the text and the image. So like this, perfect. Alright, so let's now see a very cool tool in regard to text. So we can also close this panel here. Alright. And for example, we could add a title here for this text. Alright, so let's create another text box. Perfect. So very easy, very simple. Let's just type title. Alright. So now, as we said before, also text is a vector graphics. And we can convert the text into a vector graphic by selecting the text box and then going up here on type, create outlines. As you can see now, we're gonna work with this in a different way. First of all, we can go inside of it. And as you can see, also the control bar is different. So now we're gonna use it so exactly as a vector graphic. So we can increase it like this, because of course we don't have the font size anymore. And if we go on direct selection tool here on the left, as you can see now, my text is all made with lines and dots and vectors. So we could, for example, play with it. So we can do these. So basically we can modify these letters that we have here right now. You can also do it here, of course. As you can see with this dot, we can really modify the shape of this letter right now. So as you can see, we can really do anything. So by clicking on this dot, we can change the shape and create any form, any shape we want. And of course, we can also fill it with some color. So by going here, we can choose any color we want, and we can also select the stroke. And as we saw in the last lesson, we can also work with the panel here to for example, change the type of stroke. So we can have something like this. We can also make it thicker. So we can modify it as we want. We can also play with it. For example, we can create also different shapes. Let's select the same colors. All right. So we could bring it here, another here, and then another here. All right. So now by selecting them all, I'm gonna open the panel that we saw in the last lesson. And with these tools, we can create this. So as you can see, we can play with it and create anything we want. So it's really cool. And one last thing about it is that we can not only fill it with color, but also with an image. So let's be sure that we selected it. And then let's go on File, Place. Let's click an image and open. So as you can see now, we don't have the color anymore, but we have the image inside. Probably it's really zoomed a lot. So we have zoomed out, and here we are. So this orange here is the image box. Let's go here. Perfect. Perfect. So now it's probably less zoomed in. And here we are. Yeah, so we can also put an image inside of the text. Now let's go back here and let's see another tool about image inside of text. If you notice here on the box image, we have a blue square. This is basically an anchor tool. As you can read, by dragging into the text, the blue square, we now just anchored the image inside of the text. So it means that if we move the text, we're gonna also move the image. So no matter what we bring the text box, the image is gonna move along with it. Which of course it can be really useful because it can happen that while working on a document, we're gonna move the elements. So also, for example, the text box or the image. So it's gonna be useful to anchor it. So now if we wanna disanchor this image, we have to select it, of course, and then right clicking on it, go here, anchored object, and go on release. So as you can see now, I don't have the anchor icon anymore, but I have again the blue square. And if now I will move my text, as you can see, the image is going to stay right there. Alright, so the last thing I want to show you is a tool called Snippet. So this snippet allows me to save the graphics I want in a library that I can always open anytime I want when I'm working here on INDESIGN. Let me show you how. So let's select them both. Now let's go on File, and now here Save as Type. We're gonna click here and select INDESIGN Snippet. And then we can also of course name it. So for example, graphics. Alright, and then go on Save. Perfect. Let's now open a new document. So we can go on File, New Document. This preset is perfect, so let's go on Create. Alright, so now, as we said, we can always open those graphics that we just saved anytime we want. In order to do that, we have to go on File, Place. Here we are. So as you can see, the snippet file is it's going to be in this format. Let's click on it and open. And here we are. I have my two graphics. So as you can see, it's really useful because this way I can use them anytime I want. And so for example, if I create a graphic that I really like, I can just save it and then have it at my disposal anytime I want and work on it on multiple documents. Alright, so for this lesson it's all. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, don't forget to practice at home. So in the next lesson we're going to talk about effects. So I'm going to show you some special effects we can do here on INDESIGN, and also for example how to create and to generate QR code. So stay tuned. I hope to see you all in the next video. Thanks you for watching, and bye bye everybody.